What's going on, you guys? This is the DeFi Crypto Alliance show where we're doing our best to be the bridge between fellow real estate investors, entrepreneurs, professional wrestlers, and the like, and helping them understand the opportunity in cryptocurrency. Now we feel like nothing is even close. We're pumped to have you along with us on this journey. It's going to be wild next few years. So welcome. Corey, take it away.
Absolutely. Corey Geary here in the beautiful country of Puerto Rico. Just got back literally last night. Just having a blast being on this journey with all of you guys. We always say, well, we're going to use that cryptocurrency asset class as a wealth creation tool and use real estate down the road as a wealth preservation tool. That way we don't go and lose all our money in the next bear run, and we can preserve some of that so we have some money to go back into the space when we're in the next bottom. So it's just been an absolute blast to be able to change the trajectory of what I feel like the greatest opportunity upon us right now to be able to change the trajectory of our family's life, yours life, our friends. And it's been just a blessing of a journey. Me and Dane, we just got back from a mastermind, a very heavy hitter mastermind. I mean, there was billionaires speaking on stage. Obviously, Hulk Hogan was there at the mastermind. That was an absolute blast. He was kind of the main event, if you will. But it was, I mean, even beyond Hulk, I mean, the amount of wealth in that room that me and Dane in is, I don't know if I've ever been in a room, Dane, with that much wealth in my life.
It's
and
wild.
It was just, I mean, people up there, a lot of events we go to, a lot of masterminds, people are talking about like, $1 million or maybe even $3 million a year being like the goal they're trying to achieve. And they're struggling. They have these roadblocks. I mean, these guys, I felt like $10 million a year was like the low end, like you were the pleb of the room if you were making $10 million a year. I mean, there was guys, $30 million, and they were like, if our next goal next year is 30 million, if we're chipping down the business and laying foundation now so we can line ourselves up for the year next, coming. And it was, man, and there was billions there, and it was just a phenomenal time. And got to meet Hulk Hogan, and I'll give you a little context and how this works. So I'm a walking billboard, as you guys notice. Like, I'm always like sponsoring and supporting what I love, believe in. And literally, you can see there, I have a Pulsechain shirt and a Pulsechain sweatpants on. And I was a walking billboard during the whole entire event. And even when I got to speak on stage for a little bit, I wore the big old red hex shirt. So I was constantly shilling, if you will. And that's what when we go to these real estate masterminds, and what we do is we onboard these real estate guys into our group, and then we teach them crypto, and then these guys got big real estate deals. And so it's a really nice synergy in a really beautiful community that me and Dane are creating. And we're doing it by going to these high level masterminds. But Hulk was there, and we got a chance to, take pictures, and some people we got to talk to him. And when I wanted to take a picture of it, he was curious about what I was wearing. And I explained to him, about Pulsechain, and he actually does a little bit of crypto. I don't get to the depths of like if he's, on the centralized exchanges or if he's doing DeFi. I didn't have that much time, but he knew the fascinating part is he's heard of RH, which I think, like, if you're in the crypto space at all, even if you're a centralized exchange guy, you probably have heard now of RH and the SEC. It's kind of like, you guys remember the XRP. The only reason why so many people knew about XRP, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, is because of the SEC and the marketing they did for the XRP community. And we're starting to get the same amount of exposure now with RH in people who have never heard of him before now have heard of him. And so I explained for a quick second what Pulsechain was, and he's like, oh, I'm going to look into it. And like he was genuinely interested. Obviously, I didn't like sit down with him at that moment and like in walk him through on how to buy it. But I mean, he was genuinely interested, and there's a if you guys know anything about sales, and even Tommy's talked about this, it takes usually 3 touch points for someone to get generally interested in whether it's a product they use in their everyday life or an asset like something like Pulsechain. For example, if somebody was selling a brand new, let's say, competitor to Viagra, maybe they hear it on the radio and then like, whatever, they blow it off. Maybe they go over there, maybe a few weeks later, they go to their buddy's house and then their buddies tell them about it. And they're like, huh, that's odd. And then they blow it off, but it's in their subconscious. They've heard it. And then maybe they go on Twitter and they see an ad or maybe someone else talking about it. Well, they say on the 3rd touch point, that's when the person gets interested. They start going deep, doing due diligence, and whether it's assets you buy or stuff, but maybe I get to be Hulk's first touch point, and hopefully he keeps getting surrounded by our community, what we're all about, what we're trying to accomplish. And it would be a lot of fun. And maybe he comes back, and who knows? Right. My brother's here. And maybe he comes back to the family mastermind and does round 2. And maybe I can talk to him again about it. Maybe I could be his, who knows? This was a dream, speculation. We always speculate on this show. Nothing's ever advice. But maybe he'll get to come back and I get to be his second touch point. It can be a touch point. I don't know, right? But he was interested, and it was a lot of fun. And man, Dane, he's a really cool guy. We watched an interview. He sat down with the host of the mastermind for a good, I'd say hour, maybe an hour and a half. And he went in deep and interviewed. His real name is Terry. I think most of you guys probably know that. And he just seems to be such a gentle giant, a genuine human being. And it was very interesting. And he's had like 24 back surgeries from his career of, wrestling. It's destroyed his back from so many leg drops. And, he's a big individual. And so it's really, really cool to, and, me and Dane, we talked to a lot of people at this event, and it's going to be very good, guys, for the Pulsechain ecosystem, very good for our bags. We're on a mission to, onboard 1,000 real estate investors, and these guys, they don't come in with $1,000. They don't come in with 10% of their paycheck every 2 weeks buying, $250. It's not how they play. They come in with rather substantially large amounts of money. Some of these guys, a lot more money than what we have, which is really cool. I love to onboard a person who is a lot wealthier than me.
Yes, 100%. I thought one of the interesting things that Hulk talked about, so his wrestling height when he was wrestling was 6'7", and now with all of the leg drops and things he did, jumping off the top of the ropes, landed on his tailbone on these guys, you see not only the back surgeries, but his back has been compressed. And how tall would you say he was at this point, Corey? How tall are you? You're like 6'1", maybe?
I'm just right shy of 6.
Okay.
So it's 6 to, for easy math, I'm sure. And yeah, you can see he's
there, like Hulk is what, 6'2", 6'3", maybe in this picture.
So he's lost inches,
right?
From the destruction of his back, which is he's in his 70s, and so it's really cool to see him, functioning though, being happy. even though he's, a lot of pain. But he was talking about on stage, one of the things he touched about is that back when he was like the big superstar, which was, the 80s, 90s, is when he really ruled the WFF or there's the WFF
right?
wrestling, WWF. There was WWF and WWE, I think it was. They changed it to the World Wrestling Entertainment.
No, it was WWF and NWO.
Well, yeah, but then WWF changed its name to
WWE. Right.
So, yeah, he was talking about like in his days that everyone he wrestled with, like King Kong Bundy, Andre the Giant, Macho Man, all the other superstars that were emerging with him and rocked the stage, if you will, wrestling. They're all passed away. There's none of them that are around. He's one of the few that's still around, and he's in his mid-70s, and he's still a bulky guy. He's got a lot of muscle mass. He's still.
I was really surprised when we put our arm around him to take a picture. Man, I was like, geez, there's still some significant mass going on here. That was interesting.
Yeah. So it's he's a good, really cool, and it pays to be a walking billboard. I was a walking billboard that day.
In fact, if you guys want to go into the comments, if you feel like this would be useful, feel free to go into the comments of Corey's post here and tag the Hulk and say something positive about how we're here to help him if he wants to dive into Pulsechain more or something like that. I think it's a reasonable idea. Yeah, what does Randy say? I remember when Hulk Hogan joined us on Google Plus back in the day. Very cool.
Really, really cool. Really cool. Yeah, he's done some crypto stuff. I said I didn't get too deep in the weeds on like if he's DeFi proficient or anything, but yeah, he's done some crypto stuff and he's in a lot of assets. Come to find out, he owns multiple business. He owns a business, guys, with Mike Tyson. How cool is that? How cool is that? He's got a business with Mike Tyson. This guy he's living such a cool life.
Yeah, he's got a lot of things going on. It was really impressive, and you kind of hit on it already, Corey. But man, a lot of these guys, you go throughout your whole life, everybody telling you how cool you are. He can, it can be, people like this can have a big ego, and he's just the coolest guy, super friendly, really like that.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he does still live in Tampa, isn't that right, Corey?
Yeah, yep. He lives there in Florida. I think it is in Tampa. Yeah. He's owned like restaurants there, gyms, like just he's an entrepreneur, which is really cool. We resonate, with these kind of people. So yeah, Clearwater. Maybe that's it. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, that's right.
You're right about that.
Yeah, next to Tampa. I think that's right.
Yeah. So maybe we'll see him again because this particular event that we can then go to, it's once a quarter, and it's always in Tampa. Some of the masterminds we are in, they travel around. They're in different parts of the United States, sometimes outside the United States. But this particular one is always in Tampa. And so maybe it's a high probability to see him again. I don't know.
Yeah. That'll be interesting. One of the things you guys have probably seen the videos going around Twitter, just like we have, but man, the SEC and Gary Gensler is absolutely under fire.
Yes.
So if you haven't seen it, just go in there. You can, type in SEC and you'll see I think it's Congress, right? That's talking to him and telling him that essentially he's not willing to answer any of their questions. And they're going so far as to saying that they've been investigating Gary Gensler. They've been investigating how the SEC operates, and the only information that the SEC has sent back has essentially been public-facing information that anybody can come and find. And they seem like they are freaking done with it. And so they've talked about suing Gary and suing the SEC to get the information that they're after and that they're seeking. And give me your feedback on this, Corey. To me, it feels like it's a bunch of like musical chairs being played where Gary's trying to stall for things. It feels like Richard's trying to stall.
Right.
Who
They're playing.
who can outstall the other is what I'm wondering. And frankly, I think that more and more it points to the idea. I think that I like the stall tactics. If you could get yourself to a place where Gary Gensler looks worse and worse and potentially is even gone before your case is potentially looked at and heard, I think it's a big deal.
Yeah, I agree. They seem like they're playing the same game, but I think he's playing more. He knows once he gives anything up, he's going to be, probably some deep water. I love it when they were grilling them. They're like, "So, do you think Bitcoin is a security?" And like he kept like going on the question, and the guy's like, "Look, it is a yes or no question." That's what the congressman was saying, and you could tell his patience was running so thin. Because Gary just kept playing this like, I don't know.
Oh, they're so done.
Oh my gosh,
They're
they're very frustrated women. I think they sense and smell the corruption that is coming out of the SEC. And man, it's quite fascinating to see Congress going after a government, like a government, like the SEC, right? They're part of government. And so yeah, man,
refreshing.
wouldn't that be phenomenal? Right when the bull run is starting to brew and kick off towards here at the end of the year, that he actually is, getting out. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it'd be excellent. Did you see the clip of the Pikachu card?
Yeah, I did. When they
That was awesome.
That was awesome.
So essentially, for those of you that haven't seen it, they were questioning Gary Gensler, and they said they asked him if it was a security for people to go, if people were practicing in securities, to go and buy a Pikachu card. And if I remember correctly, essentially gave a roundabout way answer where it was like, well, no. And then the congressman said, well, what if somebody buys a tokenized picture of a Pikachu card? What about then? And I feel like it just puts the absurdity of all of the SEC's claims and put it on full display. And I was like, right, like this is absurd. And he essentially says like, well, if people do it with expectations of profit from the work of others, well, then, then it would be a problem. And in fact, he keeps, and I need to clarify that if people expect profit solely from the work of others, and I think that's a really freaking big deal. He talked about that a few different times through his questioning. And man, I mean, if they're sticking with the Howey test, I think it's going to be a rough day in court with Richard and company. Because Richard has prepared specifically around failing the Howey test on purpose for all of these assets and for what we're really interested in. So bullish as could be.
Bullish could be. You remove them out of office and then you put one on and go to court and it's like, judge, this is a mess that Gary did. Judge like, dismissed. Like,
well, seriously, imagine
I'm just speculating, but how fun would that be?
But imagine being the judge, like the judges have to be seeing a lot of this. They have to be hearing the same things we are in a lot of respects. You know what I mean? Even if it's a general overview of like the SEC has been, I mean, they know because they're the ones trying the case. The SEC keeps bringing cases against crypto people. And it kind of turns into this, maybe Sami said this, but it's like a boy who cried wolf thing. If they keep doing this over and over and over, your expectation is that they're wrong over and over and over again. And I would argue that you're more and more likely to, to make quick work of these cases because you're like, you guys haven't been right yet. You still aren't right. Yeah. We don't feel like
it's just another one.
Right. Yeah, it's just another one. That's just freaking
and like the file's big, and we get through all this mess that we got to clean up, especially if he's removed. It's just going to look like this giant mess that he left, and they're going to be quick to clean it up. I would seem to believe because you could obviously like see Congress really push like, look, you're calling everything a security, and you don't say Bitcoin's a security. Like what? Like what's wrong with you? And where were you with FTX? I know they're investigating him on that. Like part of the part that they're prying in, they want information from him for is the FTX stuff. And I personally think there's a lot of corruption that was going on between him and Sam Bankman-Fried, but
I do
that's
too.
a
And he's not the
more
only one.
speculation. Yeah, I
Like that
mean
rabbit hole runs deep.
that. Yeah, gosh, so much money involved, man. Just disgusting.
Well, it's just absurd. Like, you can't tell me that these frickin', these people come into office at a $200,000 a year salary and magically become the best traders in the world. And,
Like Nancy.
yeah, freaking tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. Come on. Like this isn't hard to put two and two together. It's really not.
Yeah, and the SEC don't investigate that.
No, because they're all insiders. It's ridiculous.
Oh, God, go investigate the real scammers out there, please, and leave us hardworking people alone.
Yes.
Jeez.
Agreed. Let's go to Jim's question. This is a great one. Can we touch on the PH universe and the PHLP liquidity providing? Why don't I give a high level of the PH ecosystem, and then Corey, you take the PHLP. How do you think about that?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. So the PH team, man, they are freaking undefeated. This is remarkable how everybody
I agree.
sacrifice funds, man. All those guys are MIA. Now, to be fair, sounds like some of that stuff will be launching relatively soon here.
Right.
But gosh, I mean, the PH team, they did a sacrifice for Fiat. Fiat's been out since almost the beginning of Pulsechain launch. It was one of the very first things launched on Pulsechain. So Fiat's been out a number of months at this point. Fame, they did another sacrifice for. Fame is now out, chugging along just fine, generating fees. And then they did PHUX, and they essentially gave that away to the community to let the community largely do what they will with it. There was no sacrifice. So PHUX is just a decentralized exchange. And it's really freaking cool, the different ways that you can go and add liquidity and do different things. There's pools, and you can do a bundle of assets instead of just two with 50-50 positions in an LP pool. You can go and do a basket of assets. You can do 3, 4, 5. You can do bunches of them, and provide liquidity and earn fees. And some of the pools, the fees are very substantial. And I think a really important juxtaposition to look at here is something like like Pulsex. We were all excited about it when it launched. The incentive token over there is just called Ink, and Ink has done nothing but absolutely get obliterated when it comes to the price chart. People do not care about holding that thing nor holding the price up. Whereas with PHUX, that people don't seem to want to sell it that much. The price has been relatively stable and holding up infinitely better than the incentive token for Pulsex. So that's PHUX, where people can come and buy and trade and swap and provide liquidity. Then you have Fiat, which is kind of like a DeFi bank, where you can come, you can take your assets, you can borrow against them. Now, make sure that with any of this stuff, you're being wise. If you're going to press a bunch of buttons and do some of these things, just make sure you're really wise about doing it. There's health factor and things like that to manage, to make sure that your positions aren't liquidated if you're borrowing. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think Corey is. I'm not borrowing against my crypto right now, just because it's not something that I want to manage, and I feel fine about just sitting tight and holding what I've got. Yeah. And then the third is Fame, which is cool. I like Fame.
Me too.
Fame is cool. So you can go in, it's a leverage trading platform. And, you can run the slider up. You can go and go long or short on positions. They track the wallets of who's performing the best. You can see the profit and loss statements for traders. And you can use all that data to go and determine if you may want to consider providing liquidity on Fame. So 3 projects that are really cool. Full disclosure, they are very powerful tools. If you don't know what you're doing and you're pressing a bunch of buttons on Fame and Fiat, you could lose your stack. So I'd be really, exercise a lot of caution with how you utilize those. We are very excited for Fiat and Fame, particularly me and Corey, because you can go and you can stake your tokens on those platforms and earn fees from the platform for just staking without risk of getting liquidated, without risk of impermanent loss. If you are just staking those tokens. Now, there's some other cool things going on with PHLP. We'll let Corey take that one.
Yeah, so PHLP, man, this is a fascinating token because it's just your representation into the liquidity pool inside Fame. But unlike other liquidity pools, like on PHUX, even though PHUX, the permanent loss is very little because that's the way they have the ratio set. But like in other dexes, you can have substantial permanent loss in the 50 pools. PHLP, you're not going to get permanent loss because the market trading against one or the other, but you could get it from the traders beating you. So what you are is you're putting the liquidity up for the traders to trade against. This is where the money is coming from when they take a win. Or when they take an L and they lose and get liquidated, that money is paid to only the PHLP liquidity providers, which it should, right? Because they're the ones taking the risk. They're taking all the risk. And so they should be accommodated for that when someone loses. So it's really an awesome token, in my opinion, because now you have a basket of assets. You have same kind of concept going on over in PHUX, where you've kind of an index of assets, but now you're getting the speculation or the new where the money comes. You're going to be building your bags from traders losing. As we know, 95% of all traders lose. And so that bag over time should consistently build up on these assets that we love so much. And at the same time, they're earning 60% of the fees platform. So the Fame holders earn 40%, which is awesome. I'll take my 40 because I have no risk there. But if you want to add the element of risk in there, now you get 60% plus all the liquidations. And you can redeem your PHLP for any asset you want in the pools. If you want to go in there and grab a pulse out of it, you can get your value of all pulse. You want to go in there and grab a bunch of hex out of it, you can do the same. Where in other liquidity pools, usually when you go in on your liquidity pool, you're just going to get all the assets there. You didn't have a decision to, like, if you want all in pulse, hex. And I like that element about it too. It's a really cool game theory strategy. I'm going to end up adding some liquidity myself into the side of the protocol. I'm waiting a little bit because I just wanted to, anything brand new. I kind of want to get a little bit. I want to get a little stabilized, and then I'll come in and I'll add some liquidity on that side because, like I said, that's where the most risk is at. Kinda, right? Do you think traders are going to win long term, or do you think the house is going to win long term? Well, I think the house is going to win long term, in my opinion, but you could always go the other way short term. So very fascinating ecosystem, very fascinating tokenomics, very fascinating protocols. And another thing I want to touch on is these protocols, especially like Fame, which I think will really get it'll be in the spotlight for a while. And I think it'll kind of be the darling of the three. I could be wrong, that's speculation. But what I like is that they launched at a fairly low market cap. We're talking about, I think we're going to be at 25 million right now. And I think we were less than that when we first launched. And I know we've gone down like a short period of time where there was some selling. And remember in the Hex days, I mean, I see Randy in here and a couple OGs. Hex launched like a 5 million market cap, right? And that's why I was able to do the massive run it did, a 1000X, and just absolutely rip faces off. And this is why meme coins do so well, guys, is because there's just no liquidity and there's no market cap, and it just runs, right? Well, this has the possibility, in my opinion, to really run hard as we're going into the bull run. And I could be totally wrong, right? So this is just speculation. I'm not telling you to buy this. In fact, you can go and sell it. I don't care. But this is what I think. Being that it has a 20 million or 25 million market cap, I mean, it's not out of the realms of possibilities for this thing to do 100x, maybe a 500x, and if conditions allowed it, maybe even 1,000x. I don't know. It's just, it has that potential, and it actually has cash flow tied to it. People love cash flow, and so like one end you have the cash flow tied to it, and the other end you have a kind of a DJ component. It's a little marriage, and then it could do really well. And so we're excited. We're really excited about it. So, and if you guys want to about the passive income and how they kind of work together, I see Crypto Slot in the chat. He did a whole video on passive income and a lot of stuff talking about, going in here and using the arbitrage, stuff like that. So if you want to dive deeper on this stuff, go watch his video. He's got on YouTube. It's, for public to see, and you can get your head wrapped around this a little bit more.
Absolutely. And the way that these tools work together is, like you said earlier, it's really freaking powerful. And there's some pretty crazy things that you could do. For instance, you come in here and you provide PHLP. And if you are, in fact, I'll help you through some of these tools. So if you're considering coming in here and providing PHLP, which once again is the liquidity that allows the traders to go short and long, one of the things that you want to be paying very close attention to, if we come up here, I think it's in stats. Let's go see. Let me have this page load and we'll double check. But it's cool because you can come in here. It is. Let me go ahead and share this one. So you could come in here and specifically in this instance, I want to look at the P&L for the traders. Because if you're providing PHLP, then what you want is the traders to lose early, often, and big so that you earn more fees. And specifically, the PHLP holders exclusively are the ones that benefit when traders are liquidated. They're the ones that get the liquidations. And so, this is the trader's net P&L right here. You can see it's primarily been red. There's been a couple of green days. So on the green days, you are not a winner as a PHLP provider. But like Corey said, this isn't something that, in our opinion anyways, you can play the game however you want. But this is a longer term type of thing where, historically casinos win if you give it enough time. So pretty cool. This is what I would be, one of the things I'd be paying attention to if I was providing PHLP. And if you want to print money on your money, you could even go over to PHUX.
Oh yeah, they opened the pool now for the PHLP.
Yeah. So there's this
money on top of money. It's only in crypto, guys. This is why I'm here.
So they have this pool they're calling 4G here that is half PHLP and then other PH tokens. So Fame, FUX, and Fiat, it's all here. You can come and provide liquidity here, and the APRs are, maybe I didn't update this. Let me refresh this. Let's make sure we got the right APRs. But you can come in and essentially not only earn the fees from the trading, but you can earn the fees on PHUX from providing liquidity. So really cool how all of these tools work together. And I think particularly once there's some more volume, I'm really excited about the upside of all the PH stuff. There we go. That's better. So you can see the APRs in this pool are really strong.
I'll give you another little speculation here, and I could be wrong. I'm wrong all the time. But PHLP providers, I would be willing to bet Buck likes to reward people who participate in his protocols. He loves to reward, especially the people who support and kind of like add liquidity and hold the protocol together. That's the PHLP. If you think about it, is you have to have it. It is the backbone of the game. And so it wouldn't surprise me if we got a nice reward in PHUX in the future as an airdrop. And we'll see that. And I could be totally wrong. He might not do it, but that's something I think I might speculate on. So.
Yes, there's something to be said about considering staking your PH assets. If you have them, if you like them, if you want to hold them, there could be continued benefits moving forward. So we'll see.
He don't like sellers. We saw that with Fiat. He doesn't like sellers. He doesn't like. He wants everyone to, he wants to reward people who are doing, good actors in his ecosystem. And it's been a blast, man. I mean, like you said, man, he's not only delivered the most blue chip of assets that big money is going to be attracted to. I mean, stuff that's done phenomenal on Ethereum, just phenomenal. And they are working perfectly, in my opinion. I love to see what they're doing. But now that then he was like first to market beyond all these other guys. And he was the first one out, and he didn't even care about the Oracle. He's like, whatever, I'm just going to tie my price to Pulsechain and Fox, and we're going to go. Like, he didn't care about the Oracles. Like, and maybe he'll use it in the future. And they talked about maybe they'll die when it comes and whatever. But they didn't care, man. They went ahead and just launched. It was great. It was great.
Well, and did you know, Corey, you probably heard this, they built their own Oracle in the back end that they're using, which is cool.
Yeah. Okay. That's really cool. I mean, So
another take that I've been thinking about. So when we go and speak at these masterminds, it's always fun to talk to the audience members afterwards to see the stories, to see where sentiment is, to see what people are doing. We had a guy come up and talk to us after, and he's got a Discord group of, what did he say, Corey? It was a pretty good chunk. It's like 15,000 people.
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. It's like 15 to 25,000 people. And he wanted to talk. He loves the DGen stuff. So we wanted to talk all about that. And we did. We talked about that for a little bit. And he said, what do you guys like? And Corey explained how, we like Pulsechain. We like the stuff built over there. And we said, have you heard of it? And he's like, yeah, I've got, he's got a little bit of Pulse. He's got a little bit of PulseX. But he's focused elsewhere right now. And we asked him about some of the new things that are launching, if he's heard of them, if he's participating in the memes over here. And he just hadn't heard about it. He wasn't aware. And so it's our job to talk about the things that are going on Pulsechain. When there's charts that are popping off, even if it's not something that you hold, I think it's important that we talk about it. I think it's important that we're hashtagging other communities so that they can see what's going on. The first rule of marketing is if nobody knows you have something to come and utilize and to buy, nobody will freaking come and utilize it or buy it. And so talk about the things that you like. We're doing our best to spread the word. We all have a role in that. And if we do just a little bit of effort on that end, I think next year could be wild. I really do.
Agreed, 100%. Like, I love that you said. I want to reiterate, even if you don't like it and you don't participate in it, it's still go point to it. It reminds me of the meme where the two guys are like with the mouth open. It's just like the cartoon meme, and they're pointing to a green candle. Like, it's okay to do that, even if you're not in the protocol. Like, that's okay. Show that we have activity over here. Show that there's money over here. Show that we have this amazing chain with all these protocols and meme coins and whatever else fits your fancy. We got something for everybody. That's what we're doing. And we want to keep onboarding into the ecosystem because overall it's good for everyone's bags, no matter what you hold.
Absolutely. Now, another thing I've been thinking about, what are your thoughts on this, Corey? So Hex launched, if I'm not mistaken, right at about 6 months before the Bitcoin halving, the last market cycle. And we all know what it did. It went parabolic. It did incredibly well. There's a lot of people thinking that, that rough same time frame, 6 months before the Bitcoin halving, that we could start to see a lot of action, which would put us 6 months before, would put us in November of this year. What are your general thoughts on that, Corey?
What's the question though? Exactly.
Yeah. So Hex did great, largely because of the timing of the launch. Do you think that we could start to see some growth, see some more green candles at that same time frame, about 6 months?
Yeah, I think October, man. I think October we can start seeing some momentum shift, and this is the markets as a whole. I don't think the SEC in the news is going to hold us down the way everyone is thinking. And the reason why I say that is because of past performance of other protocols like the XRP. It got hit with the SEC news. They're a multi-billion market cap, right? And they did a 10x right after the SEC hit them. And then they win against the SEC, and of course, bull, right? and they win against the SEC. Go look at the price chart now. That's just nothing. It's just the same. It's just it had a little buy the rumor, sell the news, came right back down. It's like, we don't care. And so it's interesting that the market cycle and where we're at in that means everything. Period. Is new money coming in? Is retail coming? Are they curious about something? Are they curious about a new coin? Maybe they're curious because we are in the light, the spotlight right now. I think it could end up being a good thing. We don't have any centralized exchanges that are delisting us. We're DeFi, so the people coming in anyways are already proficient with DeFi, at least to an elementary level. And man, I think this is the timing where it does start to heat up. October, Waters Above seems to think that now. It seems like his calls always get pushed out. I don't know what, like
running a cult, man. When the good Lord didn't come back on a specific date, you just misinterpreted it, and it'll be later in the future.
That's what it is. Now he's pushing out to like October 16th. Is right. When something can happen, or a black swan or something like that. Who knows if he's right or wrong, but I do believe October is going to be, a good month. I think, man, this is, we might see obviously they keep pushing back the Bitcoin ETF, but how much longer are they going to keep pushing it back? It's just, yeah, man, I'm so bullish going in now to the new year. And RA perfect with X, in my opinion. I feel like we have mentioned this many times in the show that if it went for the 3-letter agency, we'd probably be launching somewhere about now or maybe a month from now. Anywhere from now to a month from now.
I think we'd have Pulsechain yet, right?
And then we wouldn't have saw this hemorrhaging of a price chart, which I don't mind it. I was able to pick up a larger bag because of it, but I feel like we wouldn't be out right now. And I know that probably pissed a lot of people off. They had to piss us off, to be frank about it. But I'd rather be pissed off than be dealing with the freaking SEC. So I was like, whatever. But yeah, I think now it's that timing where we're at, what stage we're at. Everyone thinks this time is different. When the crowd thinks this time is different, it's not different. Will we see a shorter market cycle because of the economy? That's still to be unknown. I still give that a higher probability that you can see something happen just because of what's going on with the overall economy and the if we have a recession or not. But we'll keep an eye on that, and so should everybody else. And but as of right now, man, we're kind of right on cue with stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, and Crypto Ethos, welcome to the show. Yeah, Tetra, Liquid Loans, Power City, 9-inch, Spark Swap, BSC, PLS Bridge, all launching over the course of the next 4 weeks. Spark Swap is already out, if I'm not mistaken. Might be some updates to that. But yeah, lots of things coming out.
But not the BSC Pulse Bridge that I think Spark Swap is bringing to the table.
Gotcha.
I think bringing that to the table, which is a value add if I've ever heard of one. That's going to make them stand apart from like the other. There's a few other ones like finance. That's kind of what they're trying to do. And there's a couple other ones in the ecosystem, but this is really going to make them stand out. That they're going to have a direct lineage to Pulse Bridge. Be careful with bridges, guys. We don't know where they're getting their code from, or who's writing it, and all this other stuff. So please be mindful and do your due diligence when utilizing their bridge. And I hope they're 100% successful. And I hope maybe they're fork what we already have. I don't know. I don't know the game theory behind it. And I'm glad they're doing it. But just be careful, because bridges are the number one point of attack in the crypto space in general. Think of Solana, right? Solana's just been absolutely damaged because of bridge packs. So, hopefully they're successful with this, and I hope it's absolutely a banger, because there's a lot of money on BSC. A lot of money, you get a lot of coin. You got a lot of shit coinery over there that might want to come over and play some games when easy, like when stuff like Pulse Pot launches and all these other meme coins. And so and that's probably why they're doing it, because they're more like the meme coinish, Spark Spot, they're big into the high API yields. And they even have some single-sided staking going on, and they're like, well, let's bridge right to the DJing community there is in crypto, and that is BSC, and they're tapping right into that, and maybe they'll bring over some of that liquidity, and good for them.
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
a good play.
Another note, Liquid Loans has been developing an oracle that they're calling the Fetch Oracle that will be launched before Liquid Loans comes out, which a lot of protocols apparently are relying on to launch. And so the tide is about to go out on those that took sacrifice money, and we will see who has pants on. It'll be a lot of fun. There will be no excuses not to launch anymore once some of that stuff is out, and we're here over the next few months. So it'll be cool. Really exciting to see that. It also sounds like Gerardo with why am I blanking? What's his called? Mintra. Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds like they're working on some final testnet updates and pushes before mainnet. So a lot of this stuff that took big sacrifice money sounds like should be here relatively soon over the next few months. So a lot of things that are exciting to look for. In fact, we'll talk more about this and how you might be able to benefit from it tomorrow. So make sure to join us on the open mic show. That'll be cool.
That will be cool. Yeah, a lot of stuff rolling out. There is a couple though I have not heard of. One specifically, and I won't talk bad about it. I won't mention on the stream. There is one specifically that I'm thinking about that I didn't stack a lot, but I did a little bit. I heard peep from them, not one peep, and like maybe they're waiting for the Oracle. But I will start talking about them if the Oracle comes out, and then like we go into October, get towards the end of October, and we're still not hearing nothing. Shit, I'll throw them under the bus. I'll give them a little bit more time. But I did a little bit. I'm glad I didn't do a lot. And I expected that, man. Like I participated in a lot of sacrifices, probably more than I should have. It's kind of degenning in a little bit. And I expected that maybe one or two of them would probably not launch, or maybe, wouldn't do well. They launched and the code's broken. You can see that happening. I don't know, but that's just part of the gameplay.
Yeah, good point. Good question here, Jim. So there's been a few different PHUX airdrops. One of the airdrops went to the holders of eFiat that got their eFiat and held it. So there was a real significant airdrop for those guys. There was an airdrop. I think, did some of the original fiat sacrificers get a little bit of PHUX, Corey?
Yeah, they did. And fame. They gave the fame guys early and late some PHUX. And he stopped doing airdrops there for a minute when the SEC stuff came out, except for if you got your fiat. If you sacked for fiat and you got fiat and you went and staked it, there was a PHUX given to the fiat stakers to kind of bootstrap the ecosystem. So, and to me, I consider that an airdrop because if you went and staked and you got your share of that, that's an airdrop. It might not be a lot of money. It's a little bit. And so that's the last kind of airdrop we got. And then they have a lot more planned. I know that, and I think Buck was going to wait for a little bit of stability, and I think he's confident now. He's okay now. That's why he launched Fame this last weekend.
And he also, I know that he mentioned it that they're looking. They wanted to have all hands on deck for Fiat and for Fame to get those all launched. Make sure they're working well.
A lot of work, man.
A lot of work, and then they'll.
And they only have two devs. They got Dev 1 and Dev 2.
It's wild.
Like what? These guys are like. They're superhuman.
Yeah.
I mean, where do you get guys? Holy crap, man.
Mm-hmm. So they said now that those have launched, they should be doing more airdrops in the near future. So once again, Buck wants to incentivize people that support his products, whatever that may mean to you. You might want to signify your support, whether that be LPing on Fux, whether that be staking your Fame or your fiat. Those may be things to consider in order to qualify for the airdrop. We never know who he's going to necessarily give it to, and he does that on purpose, so you can't game it. So you've got to try to figure out where you think it's likely that he'll incentivize good behavior, and then do that behavior.
Absolutely. Red Squirrel said Spark Swap guys from BSC. Ah, okay, that makes sense now.
That does.
They're
Cool.
they come from the world. They're coming from, so they want to. That's good for them. See, man, that is so bullish to me. They're coming over here, building something out, and then they're gonna put a bridge in between where they came from, like that's their home, right? They're coming over to Pulsechain, they're visiting, and they want to make sure they can go before. Man, that's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, agreed. People are building. The stuff is coming. You build in the bear market. I think once things start to pop off here, ideally this year, I'm hoping between for the last quarter of this year, see a lot more activity, a lot more stuff launching, and yeah, ideally price up with more activity.
So we should have a happy Christmas.
I'm hopeful. Hopefully this will be a good Christmas crypto-wise. The last few have sucked.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
No bueno Christmas on that one.
Cool, guys. Anything else you want to cover today, Corey?
That's all. I mean, come on tomorrow, guys. We love the open mic show. I know we missed you guys last week. Sorry about that. We just me and Dane with all the traveling and everything going on. It was, it's really hard to do the show when we're on the road, and we're going to continue doing so. Like literally, our purpose when we go to these events is onboarding. That is our number one purpose. I mean, we did learn some stuff at this last event, good business stuff. These guys are just killers in the room. So we're going to keep onboarding as we're moving along here, and we have I think we even have 3 or 4 more events to go to this year, which is super fun. I'm excited. So come on tomorrow and let's wrap. We could talk about Hulk Hogan if you want. He's an odd dude. Yeah, man, it's exciting times, guys. So God bless, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Sound good, guys. See you tomorrow.
Peace.